Well, I got cut off, so I'm going to have to start again where I left off. "Supper," said the man. "How would you like it if you didn't have any supper to go to? How would you like it if you didn't know where your next meal was coming from?" He held my arm tighter. "Or have you perhaps got a few pennies in your pocket that will buy some food for a hungry man?" "Oh, yes, yes," I cried, and I took the knotted handkerchief out of my pocket and gave it to him. "There's 50 cents there," I said, "and you can keep it all." Then I pulled my arm free and ran like the wind. I didn't dare look back, but it seemed to me as if I could hear that man laughing at me all the way home. I stumbled up the path to our door and burst into the house, gasping for breath and red in the face. "Fanny," cried my mother, "where is Thomas?" "Thomas?" I said. "Isn't he home?" "Indeed he's not," answered my mother. "I've been sick with worry about you both. The boys were just going out to search for you. Where is Thomas? Where did you lose him?" "Oh, Mother," I said, "I left him getting blackberries all by himself." Then I broke down and told her the whole story. My big brothers, Jonathan and Charles, went hunting for Thomas with a couple of lanterns. Charles took his shotgun, too. I went outside and sat on the gatepost looking out over the valley. By and by the moon came up. It was full, I remember, a real harvest moon, and the mists began to rise from the river, and all the little ponds like smoke. An owl called and called somewhere in the woods, and I heard a fox bark. I don't suppose there was a more miserable child in all the world than I was at that minute. "Oh, Thomas," I thought, "why did I leave you alone in the woods, and all for a silly bracelet that I never got?" It seemed to me as if I sat there for hours. By the time I saw my brother's lanterns glittering among the trees, my clothes were drenched with dew and my teeth were chattering. My mother came out of the house and called to them, "Is Thomas with you?" And he was, thank goodness. They'd found him wandering around and crying in that boggy place over near Craddock's farm, where Craddock's farm is now. All the time that he was lost and frightened, he had been careful not to spill the blackberries out of the buckets. Well, I crept indoors and got undressed and into the trundle bed beside Mattie, who was fast asleep. A long while later I heard Duchess's hooves on the wooden bridge over the slough and knew that my father was coming home from Hodgeville. That bridge always made a noise like thunder. When he came in, I listened to my mother telling him about how I had behaved. "Well, poor Fanny," he said. "I won't say anything further to her. She seems to have been punishing herself all day long." And it was true. I felt just as if I'd had a whipping. So that's the story of what happened to me on my 10th birthday. Garnet stood up and hopped on one foot. It was all pins and needles, and she hadn't even noticed. "Oh, I wish you'd gotten the bracelet," she said. "It's the worst birthday I ever heard of. I think your father was mean not to keep his promise." "No, he was never mean," said Mrs. Eberhart. "On the Christmas after that, he gave me a little box, and what do you suppose was in it?" "I know," gloated Citronella. "A coral bracelet was in it," said her great-grandmother triumphantly. The very twin of the one Ellie had sold to Minetta Harvey. I could hardly believe my eyes. "Father," I shouted, "where did you ever get it?" And do you know, my father had bought that bracelet in Hodgeville on my birthday so many weeks before. It had caught his eye in a shop window, and he'd thought to himself, "There's a bracelet just like the one that Fanny wants so much. I'll get her this, and she can keep her 50 cents for something else." But of course, when he got home and heard about all the trouble I'd caused, he decided he'd better wait until Christmas. "Have you got the bracelet still?" asked Garnet. "No, not now," replied Mrs. Eberhart. "I wore it till I was quite a big girl, and then one day when I was drawing water from the well, I reached out to take the bucket from the windlass, and my bracelet broke apart. All the beads and the little red heart went tumbling into the water far below. I could hear them splash as they went in." She gave a long sigh that ended in a yawn. "Run along, children," she said. "I think I need a little nap now. It makes me sleepy to think so far back, more than 70 years ago. Think of that. Was I the same person? Sometimes it seems as if it had all happened to somebody else. Garnet and Citronella tiptoed down the stairs. I wish I had a great-grandmother, said Garnet enviously. I've only got a grandmother, and she lives way off in Duluth, so I never see her. Great-grandma's nice, said Citronella complacently. She tells me lots of stories, only she sleeps all the time. Old people always do. I wonder why. When I grow up, I'm going to stay up all night long every night until I die. The two girls went into the kitchen for something to eat. They found a chocolate cake in the cake box and some hermits in a crockery jar. Hermits. That doesn't sound like something to eat. I don't know what those were back in the day. If anyone knows, leave it in the comments. That was the wonderful thing about Citronella's house. There was always a cake in the kitchen at the right time. Often there was a dish of vinegar candy, too. That doesn't sound good either. Vinegar candy. And the cookie jar was never quite empty. Probably that was why most of the Hausers were so fat. When Garnet said goodbye and went outdoors again, she found that the rain had stopped and the afternoon sun was shining through a yellow mist. Clear drops of water hung from every leaf and petal, and mourning doves cried softly from all the woods in the valley. Garnet saw a snake move like a drawn ribbon through wet ferns. She saw a caterpillar with dewy fur climbing a mullein stalk, and a snail with his horns out enjoying the damp. Once, on days like this, thought Garnet, only the Indians had been here to see the snake, the caterpillar, and the snail. On moccasined feet they had moved softly among the grasses and jostled down the raindrops from the elderflowers. It would have been fun to be an Indian girl wearing a fringed deerskin dress. Garnet saw a long, rather bedraggled crow's feather in the grass and picked it up and stuck it in her hair. Then she crouched down and walked tiptoe in the way she imagined an Indian would walk. A loud laugh startled her, and she looked up to see Jay leaning over the pasture fence. "What are you walking all bent over like that for, and why have you got that old feather in your hair?" he asked. "You look like a hen with a stomach ache." Garnet felt silly. She took the feather out of her hair and decided not to give Jay the postal card till later. Then she went on to the barn where her father was and gave him the important-looking letter. She wanted to know what was in it and leaned against a convenient cow while he opened it. He tore off the end of the envelope in a hurry, and she watched his eyes move swiftly back and forth over the printed lines of the letter. He smiled. "Garnet," he said, "we won't have to worry any longer about having this old barn collapse over our heads. We're going to build a new one. The government's going to loan us some money." Until next time.